Pelosi voiced support for an open nomination process if Biden drops out. That is the reason why I'm going to be talking about what AOC said today, because turns out she is right on that. She was right about the chaotic lack of unity behind like Kamala Harris. I mean, I said she's either lying, which I don't think she is, or she's being brutally honest and like breaking caucus and like revealing something that's pretty significant. And it turns out she is correct on this. This is the one thing that I've said is like a worse option than just going with Brandon. There's reporting right now on Nancy Pelosi saying that she'd be up for an open contest, an open convention. And I think that is genuinely a devastating idea. I don't think it's a good idea at all. Pelosi voicing support for an open nomination process if Biden drops out. It quite literally immediately proves what AOC was saying about the Democrats not having like a clear-eyed vision on a swift replacement. Some California House Democrats don't want the process to replace the president on the ticket to seem like a Kamala Harris coronation. And I think that that is a genuinely bad idea. I think that that spells chaos. It spells disorder. There is no world in which the entire American voter public that is like interested in voting turns around and says like, yeah, I like that the Democratic Party, which are supposed to be the adults in the room, cannot get their ducks in a row before the goddamn convention. This CNN article quotes you as a Democratic operative. F it, I'm coconut pilled. I just want this to stop, said one well-known Democratic operative, referring to an online meme that has taken off from an old video. You think you just fell out of a coconut tree?
You think you just fell out of a coconut tree? You exist in the context of all in which you live and what came before you.
No, chat, that's not me. They did not ask me. This is an anonymous quote from a Dem operative that is well known. Why would they put me down as a Dem operative? Why would I give an anonymous quote? Your confidence in Kamala seems wild, to be honest. What Americans want is a new ticket. They want someone they can be happy with, and that will never be Kamala. Kamala is new. Kamala is young. If Kamala has a solid team around her, which she currently doesn't, with good messaging, you absolutely could make a decent job out of Kamala Harris. She's 59. Yeah, guys, we're talking about the president. She's 32 years younger than the current person on the ticket. Or not 32, sorry, 22. You're right. I feel like you're radically overvaluing Kamala and undervaluing the interest of chaos. No. The benefits of having more attention and more eyeballs on an open convention do not outweigh the consequences of having an open convention. If you guys think this is chaotic, an open convention where like everyone is talking about, oh my God, the Democrats finally got their wishes. They finally got Joe Biden out, but now they can't even fucking have a consensus candidate. That is real chaos. You have not seen real chaos until you see what that looks like in the media. That plays itself out as total disorder, full tilt. Right now, there's like a little bit of will he, won't he situation. There's a little bit of interest. But if they were to replace the ticket immediately, swiftly, and then start moving on and be like, this is the new party. This is the new modus operandi. We're going to take it to the next level. We're going to take Joe Biden's vision and legacy, and we're going to take it across the finish line. And we're going to do even more than we did before. And they have solid messaging around it. And there is confidence. That's very different than like literally in the middle of August, at the end of August, still not having a candidate. I think that absolutely rips away the final, like the limited amount of confidence that people might have that the Democratic Party is still like, doing the right thing and are the adults in the room. Because you have to remember, the Democratic Party being the adults in the room is the number one benefit that they have over the Republicans. The Republicans are always chaotic. The Republicans are basically violent in their legislative agenda. But also beyond that, they can't figure out which direction they want to go in. Some of them try to be more moderate. Others are openly being contentious and openly being aggressive towards women's bodily autonomy in ways that remind people that they took away abortion people look to the Democratic Party as the party that's going to defend democracy. People look to the Republican Party as the party, whether good or bad, as the party that's going to do their willing, okay? Do their bidding, and follow through on their agenda, no matter how chaotic and undemocratic that agenda might be. Absolute brain dead takes. Biden dropping out now is literally handing Trump the election. So f***ing dumb. You just came in here with zero analysis and just vibes, okay? Just came in here hot and was like, no, you don't understand. The 82-year-old that everyone understands is brain capacity is deteriorated, is actually the best possible person. If they do a quick swap out, it won't work, dude. Kamala Harris also brings back certain demographics immediately into question. Like, the average American doesn't think as much as you guys do about politics. That's something you have to remember. I love this chatter said, fuck the commies. The average Gen Zer even is going to be like, oh yeah, that's a younger person. I'm interested. I'm invested. That's why I say what Kamala Harris does, if she is appointed as the nominee, is very important in terms of messaging. Very, very important in terms of messaging. Because like when people are locked in and they go, oh, this is a new fresh face, this is a more vibrant candidate, is a more dynamic candidate, then she has to play that part. Then she has to play that role. If she's barred out like she's been goofing around the entire time for the past 4 years, then it's going to be harder. Easier than Joe Biden, but hard nonetheless. Because every single person that is polling for Biden right now, in every single poll that is being conducted, is going to vote for whoever the fuck the blue person is. Because their motivations for voting for Biden is not because they love Biden. Their motivations for voting for Biden, as demonstrated by those exact same polls, is that they don't want Donald Trump. That ambition was alive and well in 2020, and it certainly is alive and well in the 2024 election. We know that. We've seen it. Every poll shows that reality. No matter who is at the top of that ticket, they have all of Biden's votes that they will secure, and plus some more on top of that. This is the calculation that I'm making. The calculation I'm making is that there are no Biden or busters in the same way that there were Bernie or busters, right? Even though those were marginal as well. This is the part where libs say you can't trust the polls. I know. If you believe that, why not have an open convention? Oh, I've told you already. The reason why I don't think an open convention is a smart idea is because then you actually do have some people who are like, well, I'm a loyalist for Newsom. It's kind of like this. Twitch streamers know not to poll which game to play next. And they just play it and they say, hey, if you like it, you watch. If you don't like it, you don't. Why? Because if you poll which game you want to play next, you will lose more people, because the people that really wanted you to play one game will just out of anger not watch the other game. Not everyone, but a lot of people will turn around and go, oh, well, I voted for this game and now you're playing a different game. And you know what? Maybe I would have watched it, but I kind of don't want to watch that game that you're playing now. More importantly than that, an open convention is specifically dangerous because it shows that there is no consensus. Right now, Biden wants confidence from his party, and his party is not showing him confidence because they're seeing the polls. Biden is also relying on being able to get to the convention. True, democracy is always a bad idea. No, democracy comes after in the general election in this circumstance, but even then, it's not a real democracy. I'm just telling you guys, if you want my analysis on this, sometimes it's good to limit the options and then go, what do you want? Anyway, having said that, the Democrats already did that in the primaries. They stopped the primary process from actually occurring by literally making sure that no one else in the Democratic Party that had any viability ran against Joe Biden, because they didn't want Joe Biden to go out and have to campaign in the primaries. They thought that he'd be weaker as a consequence of that. They thought that people would hear him and go, oh shit, he's old. That's precisely the reason why they already shut down the democracy part. Open convention is the best to restore trust in the sections of the voter base like Hispanics, young people, industrial belt. None of these people are coming out because, wow, she's younger than Joe Biden. She's been thrown into a defeat with no plan. No, the reason why I think Kamala Harris is like the swift replacement ticket is because it buys time to retriangulate the messaging around her. Because, again, time is of the essence in this circumstance. Every moment is going to count, which is why Biden should have dropped out far before this moment. I'm not saying Kamala's chances are an absolute lock. I'm simply stating that Kamala's chances are better than Biden's. And given that this is a close contest right now, that's good enough and with only upsides. Having said that, however, if Kamala Harris is the swift replacement and then she sucks, then obviously that equation changes. Open convention, on the other hand, will create a panic environment, will show that the Democrats do not have a good lineage, like a good lineup, a good succession protocol. You will have people with their own dogs in the fight. You will have people that will, at a moment when, the Democratic Party needs to be united, you will have people fighting against one another openly. The media will love the drama. Cenk disagrees with you on this. I know. I think he'll come around to this. Cenk has been right about the obvious need to replace Joe Biden because he's so old. Just like I was right on that front. Cenk and I have a disagreement on the open primaries. I think not open primaries, open convention. We have a difference in opinion on that front, but it doesn't matter. I'm telling you what my position is on the matter. The Democratic Party's number one benefit over the Republican Party right now is that they're supposed to be the adults in the room. The Republicans are divided. The Republicans are chaotic. The Republicans spell disorder. They're led by a guy who wants to be a dictator. These are all of the concerns that voters have about the Republican Party, and that's why they say they're never going to vote for Donald Trump. If Democrats basically cast that aside, if they just drop that, then they have nothing. They just have abortion. That's it. And as time passes, less and less people remember abortion and how Republicans took that away. I don't think Kamala Harris is the best possible replacement. You guys know who I think is a better replacement than Kamala Harris. I've said Gretchen Whitmer. I think J.B. Pritzker would be fine. I think there are better Democrats out there. They have proven track records. They're very popular, and they could captivate the Rust Belt. Having said that, however, Kamala Harris already being on the ticket plays a major role in this situation because it's a way to basically say, well, Joe Biden, this is the person that you chose to replace you. This is the person that you said would be great as president. That's why you made her your vice president. It's a way to also save the Democratic Party's attitude, because then you can just simply say, no, you don't understand. Joe Biden always knew that Kamala Harris would be a phenomenal president, and that's why he chose her as his VP. This is a way to continue the legacy of Joe Biden and the legacy of the past 4 years and the policies of the past 4 years. Now, obviously, you and I might not agree with that narrative. What legacy? Who gives a shit? Joe Biden. But that makes a coherent replacement narrative that you can set, that you can campaign on. Random person coming in at the last second, on the other hand, makes it seem like maybe Joe Biden's legacy is dog shit. And then people go, well, why am I voting for the Democrats again then? Because the past 4 years, they just sucked then, I guess. They don't even have any confidence in their own administration. Why the should I have confidence in them? Electoral politics, braindass. My job is to do this. Yes, if you're not invested at all, and if you don't care, and you're like, oh, it's just a bourgeois democracy. Who gives a Both parties represent the interests of the wealthy. I agree with you. But this isn't for you then. You know what I mean? This is not analysis that you should be even interested in remotely, because it won't move the needle for you anyway. But what I'm doing here is for a much larger audience of people who do care about it, who do care about elections. And of course, I'm going to be covering and I'm going to give you my analysis on the election during the election cycle. That would be crazy. If you don't disregard polls, why are you disregarding Kamala's terrible approval rating like Biden's? Great question. Kamala Harris's approval rating is VP approval rating. If the P approval rating is low, the VP approval rating is going to be low as well. Kamala Harris at the top of the ticket is an opportunity to completely change the agenda, or rather to refocus the attention at the presidential candidate, Kamala Harris. And by the way, Kamala Harris ran a dog shit primary campaign, if you guys remember. The American people want someone who's not Donald Trump who can speak. I think that Kamala Harris is not Donald Trump and she can speak. That's it.
And the pressure on President Biden is growing for him to step aside. When does a decision need to be made here?
Technically, not until the delegates vote. I mean, Democrats' convention is August 19th in Chicago. Many states have deadlines where names have to be formally submitted for ballots to be printed the days or even the day after the convention.
That's the other thing. It's like if there is a contested convention, like it can run beyond the dates of the convention too, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Kamala is also more popular than Joe Biden, which is not saying much because Biden is underwater. Kamala's disapproval is at 50%, approvals at 38.6. Biden's disapproval is at 56%, approvals at 38.5. A YouGov poll conducted more Democrats and independents who lean Democrat prefer Biden over Harris as the nominee, 47 to 32, while 21% said they weren't sure. Margin of error, 4%. Yeah, I'm telling you right now, this is the reason why I said the replacement must be swift, and then Kamala Harris has to start campaigning like a demon. Do I really think Harris can beat Trump? I think, depending on how this campaign restructures itself and how it messages going forward, yes. Yes, I do. There are so many factors at play who her vice presidential pick is, because people will care about that this time around, perhaps a little bit more than they normally would, because this is a unique predicament. All of the polling being conducted right now is being conducted as Biden is refusing to step down. Is being conducted at a time when Kamala Harris's approval rating is still tied to the president, which is why it's lower than it would be. Like, if she's the governor of her own state, then her approval rating would be unimaginably high. This does not reflect the presidential ticket at all. It's like looking at Gretchen Whitmer's approval rating currently and then comparing it to Kamala Harris. It's like, no, that's her own person. That's being analyzed by herself. Kamala Harris as the VP, which is basically a secondary to the actual administration. If the administration is actually unpopular, then yeah, obviously Kamala Harris is going to be seen as unpopular as well.
Republicans actually want Biden to be atop the ticket because they think they can actually beat him and that he's the best person that they have the opportunity to take down. So you have two efforts sort of going on behind the scenes. Number one, you have this talk about suing to keep Biden on the ballots in these swing states. Republicans think that there are a number of local laws and regulations they can sort of point to try to use the legal system to keep Biden atop the ballot.
That's weird. Perhaps that should be a inclination for those who are still holding out. I'm just saying, perhaps any sound-minded person who wants the Democrats to win, or at least the Republicans to not win, would look at this motivation from the Republican Party and go, maybe the candidate is not the best possible candidate. You're kicking Joe Biden while he's bravely battling COVID? Yes, true. I am doing that. I don't care. You said for 4 years Harris has no charisma. Do you really think she even has a chance against Trump? Wait, Kamala Harris has no charisma. You're not wrong. Having said that, however, you know who else has no charisma? Joseph Robinette Biden, who can't even speak clearly, and yet he's still in a 50-50 deadlock. So, yeah, no, I think I'm going to take my chances with the person who can speak with no charisma versus the person who can't speak with no charisma.